The following is brought to you by the History of Aviation podcast, www.hoapod.com.
EAA Chapter 1494 splashing event on Saturday. Having a great time. They had some great food there. And I did a talk with the Jet family, but I decided in true Derrick fashion, what I was going to do is I was going to completely drizzle my shirt that I was about to film wearing with the barbecue stick.
There it is, right there.
So that's how you conduct professional on-camera interviews. Is unfortunately Amber was there and Amber took care of the situation and all was well.
I've definitely done that before. Usually it's retorted back to me by somebody in the party. This does not mean I can't take you anywhere. Or something to that effect. But hey, it might not be the Mile High Club, but it's definitely a club that we've all joined at one point.
Barbecue stained shirt.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. That's hilarious. Well, there you go. Welcome to the club.
I'm Captain Cliff, and you're listening to the History of Aviation podcast.
Hello and welcome to the History of Aviation podcast. I'm Derrick Miller, and I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the EAA Chapter 1494 splash-in, which I just attended on Saturday, the 21st. But first things first, let's get started with the guys. Our producer, Shae Jones. How's it going, Shae?
What's going on? I'm here again. I'm not muted. It's 2 weeks in a row. I think I deserve a raise after that. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know who to talk to about it, but I'm just playing. What's going on?
Great. And Julien Martinson is joining us as always. What's been going on, Julien?
Oh, hey guys. Great to have to be on the show today. It's going well. I'm geographically, I'm in Kelowna, British Columbia. And, we've got summer rollout coming up, and there's the Columbus Air Show coming up in Columbus, Ohio at the end of August. So lots of air shows this summer. Really excited about that. So good summer coming out.
Definitely.
Very cool. All right. So, Derrick, tell me what's going on. What happened when you went to the fly-in or the splash-in?
So the splash-in is something I honestly never thought I would see in Tennessee. Not that I don't want to see it. Absolutely love it. But the importance to understand here is seaplanes are not something we often see here in East Tennessee until the EAA Chapter 1494 started doing a splash-in. This is my second year that I've been at the only seaplane base in the state of Tennessee, TN44. So that's kind of important to understand, is that seaplanes aren't something like you see. I think you see a lot up your way, right, Julia? You see a lot of seaplanes up there?
Yeah, we do see quite a few seaplanes because there's a lot of lakes around here in this part of the region. So, yeah, we see a number of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and Shae, I don't know your situation in Maine. You guys.
Well, I don't know about bases, but we've got tons of water up here in Maine. So, I sent you a photo the other day, actually, when I was passing through Newport. You see that photo of that plane, the seaplane? So somewhere there's always a plane or a boat or something, especially during the summer. Now, my question was, because you called it a seaplane base. Now, is that like a special designation, or is that just like, we're calling it a base, it's my house, or it's my wherever, we're just happening to call it a base?
No, it is a runway on the water.
That's pretty cool. So it's a specially designated thing specifically for seaplanes.
Yes, you can pull up charts on it through AirNav, all of that. It's a official seaplane base, and like I said, the only one in the state of Tennessee. So now, with that seaplane base going on, here in East Tennessee, we get the privilege to go out every June and watch a bunch of really cool seaplanes.
Yeah.
And it's a big cookout. It's a big gathering. I know if you go on YouTube and watch a video we just recently posted of all the little clips, of all the seaplanes doing their thing.
Yeah.
We also had a warbird fly over. Couldn't land, obviously, but he turned smoke on. Had all that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Probably about, I would say, roughly in and out, at least 200 people in and out.
Okay. Yeah.
Kids were swimming. People came there in their seaplane from other states and told stories and told people about their airplanes. And it's just a really, really neat event, especially for Tennessee.
That is really cool. Well, it's awesome. I'm glad you got a chance to go. And I can't wait to... it's your second time.
This is my second year. And at the end of this episode, this is going to be kind of a short episode because we're just kind of recapping the fly-in. But at the end of this episode, we're going to play the interview I did with the Jet family, which are a big part of this particular EAA chapter. And they're also Matt Jet, the father of the daughters, is a Southern preacher. And his daughters sing, and they always sang really beautiful songs and stuff. And Kathleen Jet, his daughter, we spoke to her last year, and she had just taken her discovery flight. We spoke to her this year, and she's got her private pilot's license.
Yeah, that is really cool. Congratulations to her. Because we were talking about that, what it takes to do that briefly the other day, and that's crazy.
Yeah, so she's made a big accomplishment, and I think, Shae, you said it. So if you're listening to the audio version, you'll hear the audio of that interview. If you're watching the video version, you'll see the video at the end of that. Is that correct? You're putting that at the end?
Yeah, easy peasy. Yeah, so I can split it up and do, with the video portion of it, I'll just leave the audio attached, but then I can split the audio and attach it right to the audio version. Easy peasy. No problems there.
Good deal. So yeah, you'll hear that at the end of this episode. Yeah, it was a really great event. And shout outs. Karen Hughes Collins, which is the chapter president of 1494. One of the hardest working ladies I know. Huge shout out to her because she works tirelessly to put on these events. And there's another big event coming up at Morristown Airport that chapter is putting on, which is a big fly-in. There's going to be some more birds there. There's going to be some cool, unique airplanes there. And we're going to go there and we're going to talk to some folks. So big shout out to Karen Hughes Collins. Big shout out to the Jet family. Jet Connect is their singing group's name. And a big shout out to all the people that were there setting up tents, taking out the garbage.
It takes a lot of hands to make the time go, like to make the event happen. It takes a lot of work, like a lot of hands.
We think about events and we don't think about the people that put out the chairs. We don't think about the people that put up the tent. We don't think about the people who
porta potties, if there are any. Yeah.
Who clean the garbage up. All of that. All that has to be done, and all the kids from that chapter of the EAA are involved in that and doing that. So I just want to give a big, huge shout out to everybody involved in the 1494 chapter of the EAA. It should be
very cool. Very cool.
So just little comments on the seaplanes. In Vancouver, for example, there's a little airport in downtown Vancouver, British Columbia, where there is a seaplane airport, and all the seaplanes come in and land. And also in Richmond International Airport, that's Vancouver International Airport, there's a strip of water designated for seaplane operations. And Harbor Air operates out of there, and they have the largest seaplane fleet in North America. They primarily use the Havilland Beaver, the single otter, and the twin otter aircraft as a Cessna Grand Caravan EX. And so there's a lot of activity for seaplane operations, and they also need a separate license. And seaplanes have been critical, not only for the transportation of passengers, but also tourism, as well as cargo deliveries to remote locations where there isn't a designated airport. And so these seaplanes are able to land in remote locations and deliver essential supplies to remote communities. So the seaplane should not be overlooked as a critical part of
Yeah.
the aviation industry and transportation.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, Julian, and it makes me pop in my head to think, especially years ago in Tennessee, where you're from, you see a seaplane, that's a pretty normal thing. When we see a seaplane, everybody's leaving the building. Look, it's a seaplane. That's something that's something that we're not used to, and now we're kind of getting used to that because we're seeing more and more of it with this new seaplane base.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Also, in the Maldives, they have seaplanes that are used very frequently. They're bigger aircraft and they land on the waters. So they've been used in numerous locations around the world for various types of operations. They also need special pilot licenses in order to fly a seaplane. So it's a separate designation. And they have their own aerodomes. So there's a designated seaplane area where you can land. And in some remote areas, like in northern Alaska, Yukon, there's some people that land just like there in the water, and they. So it's a different type of operation, and it's very interesting to watch them take off and land. At one time, I took a fly with a seaplane, and so in the beginning, it's very slow, and then it pulls up, and then to land, it has a very steep descent and hits the water and stops very abruptly. So you don't have that long rollout that you typically have with a typical aircraft. And often they are integrated into other aerodrome operations. As I mentioned, Vancouver International Airport has an area for jets, and then an area for seaplanes, and then an area for helicopters. So there's different types of airspace, aerodynamic operations that are all integrated into one space. And so typically on the West Coast, you may have people flying in from Vancouver Island to Vancouver on day trips, business trips, and then they fly back home. It's only a 20-minute flight, so people take the seaplane, or sometimes they'll connect a seaplane and then go on to an international flight overseas. Yeah, so that's all. We also see that, and then we also see the tourism. People will get onto a seaplane and go up and fly around the area, the harbor, and the views are very spectacular. They're absolutely stunning.
That was some great input on that, Julian, for sure. And I know you're much more familiar with seaplanes even than we're kind of the enthusiasts around here. We're just learning about seaplanes. So that was some beautiful input. But before we get into the interview with the Jet family that I did there at the 1494 Splash In for 2025, Julien, where can folks get a hold of you? For so you've been putting tons of videos on YouTube. I've been seeing those, and I'm going to share that link on our social media as well here today or tomorrow. So what do you got going on?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing a lot of videos to reach out to Gen Zs who are the next generation to come into the aviation workforce. And so I'm trying to appeal to this generation by reaching out to them on social media. People can reach me on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. And you can also check out my website at www.julienmartinson.com. That's spelled JULIENMARTINSON. MartinSon.com, JulienMartinson.com. And without any hesitation, reach out to me.
Absolutely. And reach out. And we appreciate having you. I mean, absolutely love having you on the podcast. You're always here with us and always have great input to put in things, and we hugely appreciate that. Shae Jones, History of Aviation Podcast, Gersh. We got a new website, www.hoapod.com. That is.
We sure do. We sure do. I wanted to real quick take a quick second to show something new.
Okay, Tony, I'm Maddie. Can you tell me what's going on and why you won't pull over for the police?
I have no idea, but it's this. YouTube.
Hey, Julian, he's watching YouTube videos while we're recording the podcast. That is not fair.
How's that for a blooper at the end?
Producing must not be that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for the website, that's been coming along quite nicely. I just uploaded the last episode, like the last audio episode was already updated prior, but I just updated, it was either yesterday or just last night or the night before. We got the video update put on there, and it's right at the top of the photos and videos. And then I also added on the homepage, I also added the coming soon for this episode and all the footage that we have on that.
And go check that video out, and I'll send that to you later, Julian. But that is a really good video that Shae put a lot of hard work into, and he sent me out. He sent me out, and he said, "Get B-roll." And then once I learned what B-roll was, I started getting some of it, and he put together an absolutely beautiful video of pretty much everything that went on at the splash-in, the crowds, some of the planes landing, the warbirds flying over with the smoke. So I'll send that later to you, Julian. I know you would enjoy that. He did a beautiful, so kudos to you on a beautiful job on that. So,
well, thank you very much. That's high praise. I appreciate it.
Anytime, buddy. We also, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They're all listed down below in the description. Check those out. Give us a like and follow us or subscribe or whatever that website requires you to do.
Right on.
We would hugely appreciate it.
We definitely would.
I enjoyed it, guys. Appreciate you, Julie. Appreciate you, Shae. And
welcome.
So stay tuned for the Jet Family interview from the 2025 EAA 1494 chapter fly-in. For Julien Martinson, Shae Jones producing, I'm Derrick Bailey. Thanks for listening to the History of Aviation podcast.
Hey guys, Derrick Bailey here from the History of Aviation podcast, and I am here at the 1494 chapter of the EAA's Splash-In for 2025. If you guys remember from last year's episode, this is the Jet family. Everybody introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Catherine Jett.
I'm Matthew Jett.
I'm Maria Jett. I'm Darby Jett.
And Catherine, last time you were here, you was talking to us about you just took your Young Eagles flight. Now you have an update for us.
Yes, I had just taken my Young Eagles flight. I think I had a few Discovery flights. And then that last year in August, I started flight training. And June 2nd, I got my private pilot's license.
She's the first jet with real wings.
Yeah.
First jet with real wings. I like it. And yeah, congratulations on that. And Matt, tell us what you guys got going on.
Well, the season just started just past month. We're at the campground where we pastor, and it's a lot of fun passion there. It's Riverside RV Park and Resorts. They have a lot of cabins and campground spots, so we get to pastor. If you're in there, I'm like a rent a pastor, and so we serve there until about the end of October, and that's when we go back on tour for the winter. And we take a few times off during the year, so. In 2 weeks from now, we're heading up to DC again. Last year, it was our first time there, and we sing at the big July 4th festival there. It is, I believe, called Freedom Fest, and so 500,000 people. We've never performed in front of 500,000, but it was crazy. It's just a sea of humanity, and just getting to show the love of God in a practical way was beautiful. And get to meet a lot of dear friends there, and get to be for the nation's anniversary. So and then in 2 years. It'll be the big 250, so we look forward to that as well. But most of the time right now, we're going to be here in Scribble Gatlinburg area.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate you guys going, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
We got ourselves another private pilot. That's a great, wonderful thing.